Hi, welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and in this classic review, we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe, a real American hero, Deep Six. This may be the easiest review that I've ever done on an actual action figure. This is a guy that has actually less points of articulation than a Super 7 reaction figure. And this is not my original, but this one is. Along with the shark that's actually underneath the flag here, it is my original. This one here is not. That one is complete without the, well, I don't have this thing in working condition, but thank you to Johnny Reno for sending me this. But anyway, we're gonna take a look at this guy. I hate this figure. I would just flat out say it. He's absolutely useless. And again, I do believe that is a reuse of a head at that. Arms that just literally go up and down. He did have a play gimmick, and that was to let him go underwater and just kind of let him come up. And then you had the shark, which pretty much was only usable for this figure. If you put another figure in, they just bounced around. They didn't sit in it like the cartoon showed off. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this figure. Tell me a story. Did you like this? There's a lot of people that like Deep Six. I'm not really sure why, but there's a lot of people that actually did. And again, a lot of people like the shark. I wasn't a huge fan of the shark, but anyway, we got to go over it. It's not the worst vehicle in the world. God knows it's not the worst vehicle that G.I. Joe's ever made. But I've talked too much. You're like, just let's get to this actual figure, and then eventually we'll get to the shark. So anyway, before we do, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a classic review. Alright, so we'll take a look at our Deep Six, and again, this is my original Deep Six. This is not. And other than knowing how worn he is, you ask, how do I know this is my original Deep Six? You see that little mark right there? He fell and his leg shattered off many years ago. And a little bit of super glue, and he put them right back on. And again, there's another figure that if you need stands for it, you don't know how to stand your figures. But we'll take a look at this guy right here. And like I said, I believe this is the reuse of a head sculpt, and I'm not positive. So if you know what head sculpt that is, or if I'm completely wrong, please let me know. Now, the canopy or mask or whatever you want to call it does not come off, so you can't even articulate his head. But you can see the hair, which actually looks pretty good on it. Same thing with the eyebrows. You got the eyes, and again, just a little bit of mark on top, and then the dot. But the nose and everything, the figure actually looks pretty good, the face sculpt for what we had back then. So it would have been nice had we been able to move this the same way of Aces, but we can't. So we can kind of look all the way around here. And this is just meant so it sits on it. Now this is a deep sea diving suit. Alright, so this thing's going to go all the way down here. We got some tubes here, clearly for oxygen. I never understood if this is supposed to be a speaker. Many of us always thought this was some sort of gun, so he's down in the water. It looks like this is something to connect to. Now, when you're doing something like this, there's a lot of different devices that when someone has to hook you up to. And then you can kind of look at the elbow here. And I believe this is more of a pressurized suit. But when you look at it, he definitely is made so he's supposed to be able to articulate, but he's sitting in essentially a snake armor suit. Alright, you got your knee pads here, what looks like would be some sort of ventilation, maybe once he gets out of the water. And then you have his boots here. On the back, you just got a little bit of yellow, and then you have all this other devices. Now, what this is here for is for the actual tube. So this is, I believe this is what it was. Johnny Reno sent this to me. Now, it's obviously broken, and there was a tube here, and you would plug it in here, and you would pump it, and it would allow him to go up and down in the water. I don't remember it ever working that well, and obviously you can see this is broken. I didn't really look in to see if that is the exact right one. But again, the only articulation this figure has is his arms go up and down. And this one is even loose. There's no breaking him open. The only way to get this off is to pry it off, and then it's never going to stay on there. I think it was meant so water doesn't actually get inside. I believe the water eventually starts to seep inside no matter what. So, his head does not turn. I actually forgot that this thing had come off. But you can see, well, it's not supposed to come off. I pried this one off over time. Or maybe when you fell. I don't remember. But it's not supposed to come off. What the awful sound. But you can kind of see exactly how beat up this one is compared to nice and shiny this one is. Probably because the person that I bought this off of was like, yeah, he's a stupid figure to have. But anyway, there you go. That is your Deep Six. And again, he just sank. He literally just sank to the bottom of the water. All right, there you go. Are you guys with me? Is this not the worst G.I. Joe figure that was ever made? I mean, honest to God, what? Making it move that much, it's almost like, why? I know he had a play feature, which I don't ever remember playing with that much. You really need a pool. Even like in the bathtub, it didn't work all that well, or a bucket. You needed something kind of deep to make him do what he was supposed to do. But anyway, tell me a story. Did you have this figure? Maybe you really like this figure. Maybe you're like, I just really like the shark. It floats, it flies, it sinks. In actuality, it just sank. It truly was one of the fastest sinking vehicles. As you could see, the water just fill up in the cabin. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here because there's not much more to say about Deep Six. He's horrible. Anyway, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a horrible classic review. Now, don't go anywhere. What I am going to do is I'm going to leave you the sniper's dream right here below Torch, and down here will be a playlist of all the classic reviews that I've done. Take care.